And welcome back to another video. Got a new setup here with that. And we are about to get ready for week 8 of the NFL. And well, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first game is actually a Monday Night Football game, by the way, because I'm just going in order. Is the Bengals at the Browns. The Bengals. They played it pretty good with the Falcons, although in the second half they completely shut out the Falcons. And they won the game, and they won 2 straight. They're looking like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase that we saw last year, especially late last year. And the Browns have been on a losing streak. However, I believe this losing streak will continue to happen as, well, they were 2-1 to start off the year. I mean, they're about to be 2-6 potentially after this game. Now, the Browns have played pretty good against the Bengals, especially last year. Swept them last year. Now, the first game, the Bengals, were trying to win. The second game, well, they just lost because, they're going to playoffs. It didn't really matter. They didn't even start Joe Burrow. They're starting Joe Burrow right now, and they are in Cleveland. So watch out as we go down this list of games. Making our way down to Houston, we've got a big problem. Talking about the Houston, not Astros, Houston Texans, who, by the way, are hosting the Titans. And the Texans, they played it close with the Raiders. I thought they were going to win there. Raiders shut them out in the second half, just like the Vanderbilt game a couple weeks ago, where Vanderbilt was winning against Ole Miss, and, well, they almost won, but they got shut out in the second half, just like the Texans did, I think. Or, no. Well, they only scored 3 points, but still, that wasn't good. They're the worst team in the NFL, the only one-win team in the NFL, I believe, as of this week. Well, it would have been, well, no, the Lions are as well, but, still. The Titans, 4-game winning streak, and have, I believe, sweep the Colts this year, which is, I believe, not what they did last year. And guess what? They're going to win 5 games in a row. Now, the Texans, recent years, 2020, 2021, we watched them when they had J.J. Watt. Now they just have Davis Mills and Brandon Cooks. It's like the only 2 good people on that team. But recent years in Houston, the Texans have played pretty good against the Titans. So don't be surprised by an upset this week from Houston. May not happen, but don't be surprised. And moving on, almost off the camera. Moving on to our next game, we have the Washington Commanders against the Indianapolis Colts, which should have been a revenge game for Carson Wentz. However, he's out. He's injured. The Commanders It's a dog barking. Upsetting the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are, well, not doing too hot. The Colts, not doing too good either. They basically had the same record if they did not tie. Now, they benched Matt Ryan for the entire year, and Coach Frank Reich said it was mainly because of an injury. I don't think so. I think they benched him because that's a good excuse, and two, no, he's just bad. So we're going to start Sam Ehlinger for the rest of the year. We'll see how far they get with that. And, yeah. However, I do have this being a close game, but the Commanders, just like last year, are going to go to 500. We'll see how far they get along in 500. But they're going to be in 500 for a little bit. And we're going to see how far they get. Now, the Colts will go under 500 once again this season. They are above 500 once this season. Uh, it won't happen again for at least a while. You'll be at 500 for a while. Talking about the Colts, but you probably won't go over until probably week 14 or maybe 16. But yeah. Taylor Heinicke led Commanders going to the Sam Ehlinger led Colts and beat them on the road in an upset. And now in a battle of two baddies, not in a good way, between the Broncos and the Jaguars. The Broncos losing in a very interesting way to the Jets. They did injure Breece Hall for the entire year, so that was something productive coming from them. They have a good defense. It's not a good offense. Of course, they didn't have Russell Wilson. And the Jaguars almost won. They lost on the 1 yard line, and you could call that the 1 yard short in the Super Bowl. So, yeah. But I don't really know who to give this to. You could just call this, I don't know. Well, I'm going to give this one to the Jaguars, and I don't know what you could call this. You could call this an upset. They have the same exact record. We're going to London, I think. We're not my team. Dang right, they're not my team. But the Jags and the Broncos are going to London, I believe. And we'll see how this goes. But you could call this an upset. You just wouldn't represent it as an upset. I think it's be a higher scoring game than normal just because, I don't know. But they just can't score points. They're going to score points today. Jags get the win some way, somehow. And now what could be and would be and should be a good Sunday night football game. The Packers at the Bills on Sunday night. The Packers have lost 3 straight. First against the Giants in London. Next was against the Jets at home. And then the next game was an upset, which I guess you'd call it an upset. And in the Capitol. They just can't do anything. We thought they were going to be this bad anyway. They've won 3 straight. They're going to lose 3 straight. What are they going to do next? Probably going to lose 4 straight. But the Bills were on a bye. They won last week against the Chiefs in week 6 in what was a phenomenal game. Could have been better. I told you, well, I didn't actually tell you. My prediction was 66-63, but it wasn't going to be that high scoring. But yeah. But I have this being a dogfight on Sunday night. I believe they will both score points. The Packers just won't score enough points to beat the Packers. However, they will exchange leads in this game. Packers want to exchange enough leads to win the game. The Bills will continue their reign as the 1 seed. If not, well, who knows, right? We may have to see what's going on. The Chiefs and the Chargers are on a bye, so everybody else gets a chance to play. And now it also could be in a pretty intriguing game, the Patriots at the Jets. The Patriots losing on Monday Night Football, or really just last night, to the Bears. The Bears pulling off the big upset. People are saying Justin Fields might be good. It was just an upset. That doesn't mean he's good. It may be, but we just don't know that yet. But the Jets winning against the Broncos, as I picked. I actually was 10-4 this week. I was going to be 11-3. Just the Patriots just couldn't pull it off. But still, very good record, considering there's only 2 games that were not there. So we've been 10-6. I mean, 10-4 is still pretty good. Yeah. But they lost Breece Hall, but they got James Robinson. He could be active on Sunday. I think he will be active on Sunday, considering, how close Christian McCaffrey's trade was to the next week. So, being that way, you just never know. And that's not the score, by the way. That's the score. I still think the Jets are going to win. I think just because they're like the Giants, they're a bit of underdogs. The Patriots are just going through something right now. Then again, So are the Jets. They're going through something that they've already gone through. Of course, for that reason, we're going to have to give them the win. And we'll see how far they get in this life. And next up, what could be maybe an upset for game of the week between the Dolphins and the Lions. The Dolphins. No one scored any points on Sunday night, and it was the worst game I've ever seen. But the defense showed up for the Dolphins. The Lions, I mean, they showed out in the first half. The second half, it was really bad. They could not do anything. I was pulling for the Lions there for a bit, but I reminded myself that, we need to pull for the Cowboys because, oh yeah, they're America's team. Yay, hooray. No. It's kind of hard for me to pick this game. But then I realized how good the Dolphins were on their offense. And Tua is going to shine. It'll probably be a game-winning drive, however. Probably the last second. So, bear with me on this. But yeah, it's going to be a game. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's really going to be, what's really going to happen? But just, we don't know how good the Lions are. They went to 500 in week 3, and they were going into that. They had a pretty big lead. Lost the lead. They almost went above 500. And I believe if they would have won that game, they would have been maybe 5-1 instead of 1-5. But, for that reason, the Dolphins are going to win. And sorry for starting, by the way. I just want to be a little bit, a little dramatic, but not really. The Cardinals at the Vikings. This could be a low-key, pretty good game. The Cardinals had a pretty big lead, 35-17. And I went to bed thinking 42-34. That's a pretty good game on Thursday night, considering what we just had for the past couple of weeks. But, I thought the Saints were coming back. I thought they had the ball going down the field, and I thought, oh yeah, they're trying to get the ball back. They didn't get the ball back, and somehow the Cardinals won. The Vikings were on a bye. Yeah, they were on a bye. 2 weeks ago, they won by 8 points against the Dolphins, and now they're looking for a big win against the Cardinals, which would actually, maybe possibly, get them above 500 by 3 games. Which would be something else for one of these teams, at least. Moving forward. But I think the Vikings will do just enough to get the win here. I think their defense is going to show out, contain Kyler Murray. I think Justin Jefferson is going to have a day, maybe 2 touchdowns, maybe 3. Who knows? But, you never know. Considering how many points is going to be put on this board, you never know what the score is going to be because who knows? You never know what the score is going to be because that's kind of stupid. If you know what the score is going to be, you're a psychic. So, but Vikings win. They're going to be on a roll this year and continuing their win streak here. And next up, NFC South battle between the Panthers and the Falcons. The Panthers pulling out the biggest upset I think we would have ever seen. Now, defending the role here, Brady and Mike Evans had a bad day, and P.J. Walker somehow, some way showed out. The Falcons, they pulled it close there in the second half, but got shut out in the second half. Marcus Mariota just couldn't do anything. Drake London couldn't do anything. Kyle Pitts almost got into the end zone and, almost made the game. Sadly, however, they just couldn't get in. Did they get shut in the second half? I don't know. I think they didn't. So, anyway, you just never know. But I'm actually going to have the Falcons to mostly blow out the Panthers. The Falcons have played good against the Panthers mostly. Panthers are just a little bit. They're not banged up. They've traded two of the best players, both to NFC West teams, and they were going to trade Brian Burns. So they're technically taking for something. We don't know what that something is. And I thought they were going to go to the playoffs at 9-8 record, 8-9 record, but now they're just looking to go to a tanking mode. And if they would have traded Brian Burns, they would especially be in tanking mode. But 23-10, Falcons win just because of offense. I think it's a little bit too much. I think they're going to contain P.J. Walker, their defense. However, their defense is not the best in the world. They're going to have a field day against P.J. Walker and the Panthers. Whoever it might be, field day. And next up, what could be an intriguing battle between the Raiders and the Saints. The Raiders almost pulling an Ole Miss, losing to a very underrated team. I'm not saying Vanderbilt's underrated. They're very underrated. I'm not saying I like them. But yeah, almost being upset by the Texans, blew them out in the second half. Saints, I think they pulled off enough to try to pull off a comeback. Just couldn't quite do it on Thursday night. I have no idea who's going to win this battle. However, I do know it's going to be a battle of high scoring points, but the Raiders are going to win that, and they're going to go. No, they're not going to go to 500. Not just yet. They're going to go to 500 quickly and surely. Just won't happen yet. But yeah, Raiders are going to win. They're going to try to get into that playoff spot. They're not last in the division anymore. That's the Broncos, and they're going to try to contend with the Chargers and the Chiefs for first spot. In the division. Soon but surely, every single one of those teams are going to beat each other up and dominate that division. And now moving on to Thursday night, it's the Ravens at the Bucks. The Ravens, 4-3 as of right now. They won against the Browns. I didn't know what to expect of that game. They were either going to go below 500 or not, and they chose the easy route by going above 500. But the Bucks lost 2 straight. Not good. They're trying to find themselves right now, in possibly post-Brady mode next year. It's not going to look good. Brady's not looking good. But, they went below 500 and went to the Super Bowl. So that's interesting news. They went 5-5, and then they won 6 straight games, and then they went on to win the Super Bowl. Now, Brady can do it again. He was younger back then. He's old now. He can't really, do as much as he could now. He says he feels like he's 20 years old almost last year. He's going to feel like he's 50 years old this year. And, well, for some reason, I feel like that 50-year-old mind is going to win the day. Now, Brady, he doesn't lose 2 straight that often. He doesn't, he's never lost 3 straight. At least, I don't think he has. He almost did last year on Monday night against the Giants. But, I feel like the Ravens still trying to find themselves in Week 8. A little bit late to try to do that, but they need to start winning games, and they need to start winning games now. Because they're trying to get Lamar Jackson the MVP that they so desire for him to get. They need to start winning games now because eventually it's going to be too late. Josh Allen's going to run away with it, and the only guy that can ever compete with them is Patrick Mahomes instead of Lamar Jackson. So the Bucs are going to win, but in a hard-fought victory. And bad news Bears versus the Cowboys. The Bears showed themselves to be bad news Bears on Monday night. However, they're coming in on Sunday, not looking forward to play the Cowboys. The Cowboys, finally Dak is back. The rush hour is over. And now, Dak's return is here. We've got it. People said they need it. They're going to get it. But how are they going to get through? Are they going to get a second return? Well, they're going to get it in a comeback fashion. 23-26. The Bears are going to have a decent lead. They're not going to hold it, however. I just think that, with all due respect, the point is that the Bears, they had that one big upset, right? They're trying to get in a one again. Maybe just not here, just not yet. And the Battle of Pennsylvania, the Steagles, whatever they were called, the Steelers, keeping it close. That's good enough. Wish I could clap my hands, but I really can't because I don't want to, pretty much. And the Eagles, they had a bye. 2 weeks ago, they played Dallas. They almost choked away a 20-0 lead. However, they pulled away, and their defense showed out. I mean, showed out on Sunday night. We actually had a pretty good game, by the way. However, the Eagles, I don't know. I feel like this will be a lower scoring game just because the Steelers defense is going to show out a bit. I believe the Eagles will try to have a game-winning drive here. I believe the Eagles are going to win this game. It's just going to take a matter of time to where Jalen Hurts can actually prove himself against a good Steelers defense. And whenever they had, no Cam Hayward, no Minkah Fitzpatrick, basically no secondary against Tom Brady, they showed out. Look what they did last week. Sunday. They showed out on Sunday night, gave the Dolphins a hard time. Sadly, they just couldn't win. Well, not sadly. No. But it's really, really sadly they couldn't win because Kenny Pickett can't throw. That's going to be the difference of the game. Eagles are going to win because of Kenny Pickett. Not saying he's bad. He just needs to take some time to see what he can do against other teams. And up next, the NFC South battle, maybe we'll get to watch it, between the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. The Niners, they kept it close in the first half. Second half, lost by 21 points. But, the thing is that they're a much better team than they are. I picked the Chiefs to win just because they're an overall better team than the Niners right now. I think a little bit too hyped for what they're feeling the same thing that the Rams felt midway in the season last year. Now the question is are they going to feel the same way that the Rams felt this way in the season? Kind of discombobulated the way they're feeling, but just a little bit, on the bright side of things. I believe they will. The question is, though, are they going to win? That's a great question. Don't ask me. Now, I believe the Niners are going to win again. The regular season champs, the last couple seasons against the Los Angeles Rams. They won it a couple weeks ago. They won it 2 times last year. Almost won it 3 times last year. Just could not do it in the NFC Championship. They did it a couple weeks ago on Monday night, which was Monday mid-afternoon if you're in San Fran. It turned to not, but, the Rams, they're not a Super Bowl caliber team right now. Later in the season, they're going to find themselves, and they're going to be acting like Super Bowl champs. Just not right now. I believe the Niners are going to find a way to win. Christian McCaffrey, 3 touchdowns. But that makes no sense. A touchdown, somebody's going to get a touchdown. Somebody. But who knows, right? 2016, Niners win. And next up, what could be a better than anticipated game than we would have thought in years to come. The Giants and the Seahawks. The Giants winning on a last-minute play that was almost in the end zone. Just couldn't quite do it. I'm talking about the Jaguars. The Seahawks surprising and upsetting all the Chargers fans, but surprising everyone by going above 500. Winning more games than I have than winning times 4. I only had them winning 1 game this year, and this would have actually been the only win. Now the question is, this is a hard game for me to pick. This is like the last game I had to pick. I was scrolling through, right? I saw all the games. The last game was the Giants game, folks. And I'm not kidding. I have no idea who's going to win. Except for I do, because I showed you. Now, the Giants, their second half team. They're going to improve their second half team this week. Now the reason they'll have like really one high scoring game is because you always got to have a high scoring game in football. This is going to be one of those midway, like when you're in the 20s, you got a good game, right? When you're 30s, you got a pretty good game. If you're in the 40s, you've got a pretty good game. Now, like if you're in like midway through the game, you're in the single digits. You've got a disgusting game. And then you're in the teens, it's a back and forth, but it's lower scoring in the first half, right? And you get the 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe even 50s. No defense. This is a pretty decent game where you have some defense, offense mixed in a pretty balanced game. The Giants are sadly just going to win. Seahawks fans, I'm sorry. There's a man by the name of Kelvin Flowers from our school. If anyone know him, just tell me. And Ty Davis, I guess a Seahawks fan, he keeps mentioning Geno Smith or MVP and stuff. And then, we're very surprised by the Giants and Seahawks this year. So, Giants are going to win. Kind of an interesting game. Hope I get to watch it, by the way. Maybe we won't, maybe we will, but you never know. But Giants win. Back and forth game. And that will wrap up the Week 8 picks that I've made. Haven't heard my channel? B Culture Productions. I could not think of any other name. I could not. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. And by the way, making a new, I think Week 10 is like midway through the season, kind of in that area, I'm going to be making a video. It's called My Hot Takes Midway Through the Season. I'm going to make it like the day after I make my Week 10 predictions. My NFL Hot Takes midway through the season to the rest of the season. 5 big hot takes, by the way. And the Bills are in them. The Eagles are in them. Maybe the 2 1 seeds possibly in the playoffs, but who knows, right? Till next time, see you next week.